What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and I'm very excited to introduce today's guest. We have none other than former NXT and WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Ladies and gents, please welcome Lacey Lane. Lacey, welcome to the channel. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I was so excited when we booked this interview because like you and I think have spoken like a couple of times on the WWE side of things, and now you're
Yes.
on to this new chapter of your career. So it's exciting to see what you're gonna do next. So I kind of just want to start off with a broad question. How are you?
I'm good. I didn't realize leaving the WWE that because a lot of people might be scared. They might be, they don't know what they're gonna do next. WWE seems to be like one of the top places that you could possibly be in your career, and leaving there you're like, well, what could I do? But once I left, I feel like so much has opened up, so much stress was not there anymore, and I feel like the journey has been really crazy and good at that, and just open up a lot of other things, and it's been nothing short of amazing for me. So I feel great. Like I said, at first it was a scary thought, but like for me, I was so determined, and everything that I have done, I've experienced so much new things, and just gotten to just enjoy things that I never thought I would, and it's really been great, honestly.
I'm happy that you're feeling like, okay, I'm taking on this new challenge and finding what is next for me. But, you were in WWE for like nearly 7 years, right? And that's a long time. It's a huge portion of your life. So when you look back at that time, your time in NXT, your time in the main roster as a singles, as a tag team with Casey, how do you look back at that time? I know it's a broad question too,
Yeah.
but let's kind of start there.
I mean, it's been amazing. Like, I've gotten to travel the world. I've got to accomplish a lot. I will say, always like looking back is like, I'm not saying I mean, yes, I do. I wish we could have done more. I wish we could have proven more. I wish we could have had like a lot of opportunities, like, because we've always been fighting from underneath, and like trying to show them that we're, why we're different. We always wanted to like build a legacy. We've always wanted to, accomplish some great things as a tag team, even as an individual. But like, I wish they would let us like, would have let us like show our true talents, or given us an opportunity to do so. That's the only thing that I wish is like, I just wanted to do so much more there. I felt like there was so much more to give and to do. And but on the other side of it, like, I have no regrets about anything. Like, I loved every moment that we shared there, like everything that we did. I mean, we did. Being the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions is something that will be a historical thing for us. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing. But like, again, I just think her and I's passion, we wanted just to do so much more, to show so much more. Just wanted one pay-per-view to be like, we got it. And I just, that's the only thing that I always think about. But other than that, like, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for the time, for the opportunities, for anything that's come with it, and meeting the people that I did. So, hmm?
You and Casey, you guys are so different in the ring together, but you guys came like you guys meshed so well. And that was the thing, like you guys were a cool tag team, granted that got you, two different tag team title reigns, but also it kind of felt like you said like there could have been more. What was happening there that you felt maybe why weren't you guys necessarily pushed to a different level when you compare what you guys did to some of the other tag teams that got to hold the championships? I'm not even sure if you would know, but what do you think that was?
Like, I tell this to everybody. I can't tell you that. Like, when we would go back and have like these short matches, or any kind of match, we've always gotten good feedback. Like, we always were told, like, like when we won it, they were like, this is it, this is just the beginning. They're like, when we lost it, they're like, don't worry, you're gonna have it again. They're like, there was everyone used to be so positive. Like, the people in the back were so supportive. It was crazy. And it goes back to my theory of being like, if you're just not the picked people, like, that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? You could work so hard, and it's just not be in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, people think like, oh, like all you do is like shoot your TikToks and that's why they're not pushing you. And I'm like, we spend so much time in the ring. We went down to the PC to help other people. Like we gave our time to people. We gave our time to ourselves. Like, how do you think we're able to do the things we do without practicing? You know what I'm saying? We put in so much work, but that's not the side of things that people see. They see like obviously we're not allowed to have like a life and have fun and post other things that isn't wrestling because that means we don't work hard. But we came with ideas. Like we constantly gave paragraphs and weeks of ideas. We tried to change ourselves. We tried to change our moves. We tried to do anything possible to give ourselves a better opportunity. And I can't answer that. And that's what bothers me. If I had a legit reason to know like why, like there was nothing there for us, like I would be at least happy to know like, okay, well, we didn't fit this or we didn't do this, like, you know what I'm saying? I can't really put my finger on it, honestly.
You mentioned kind of, that within itself, it can be hard because like you said, you're doing all of the things that you feel like you can do, but it's still not going a certain way. So did you and Casey both have like these frustrations because you're thinking like, okay, I'm doing everything I can and everyone's giving us positive feedback, but what more can we do? Especially because you guys were a very unique tag team.
Yeah, no, we shared our moments. Like, Casey and we had our ups and downs together, and thankfully we had each other to be there for those moments. Like, I just remember, like I said, I've said this before, like her and I returning to SmackDown in the UK, and it just felt like we were set up for such failure, and like we tried to do our best to do whatever, and it just felt like we were just set up just to fail, and it was like the hardest thing. We went back and we just her and I she started like she had like some tears, and then I followed behind her, and I'm just like, and she said the same thing. She said, I just feel like we're always set up to fail, and we have to always like work so hard to make something out of nothing. We have to go out there and like kill it in 3 minutes or whatever situation they put us in. And it's like we know in our hearts that we fought so hard to be such a good tag team. Like we've been a tag team for like the whole our whole existence in WWE pretty much, you know what I'm saying? And that's why it was hard for us. It's not any shade to anybody. It's just that we worked so hard because we wanted so bad to be one of the best tag teams that ever existed. And that was a true goal of ours. Not just, two people stuck together, or like when, they didn't know what to do with anyone and just put them in a tag team. But like we legitimately wanted to change the way that people looked at tag team wrestling. And so that's why it was a frustrating, journey for us, is just because it's like we looked at people like the Usos and like New Day, and like back way back when, inspiration from like the Jumping Bomb Angels and the Glamour Girls, and we always, and the Hardys, and like we just wanted to like live up to those kind of expectations, and just to like make our own path in a new era, you know what I'm saying? So like it's crazy because at some point I've talked to all the tag teams, and we've always gotten feedback, really good feedback from like everyone who was a part of those tag teams. It super supportive, super helpful, always there to to chat with us and just be there. And that was the most amazing thing, is like these legendary tag teams think that we're a really good tag team. So that was kind of hard, like always trying to accept that all these people think that we're really good as a tag, but other, like, people in the back aren't believing that or something. Mm.
Right. It felt like there was a little bit of a disconnection there where it's like, okay, they got all of the in ring stuff. Now, like, what's the story? What's going on? What's the character here? What more can we do here to get this team to the next level? Especially because you guys, during this time, there really weren't that many women's tag teams either on top of that. So there was that void to be filled. Like, that was there. So now, you get the release. Obviously a lot of people have been released. I think at some point it might cross everybody's mind of, hey, are we next? Are we doing enough? Or is this going to happen to us? Did you see the release coming?
I mean, I feel like no one ever knows when it's truly coming, but like you're always like, when you look at things and you're like, okay, I haven't done this much, I haven't done that, like, or you know what I'm saying, you kind of like notice that you might be in that next round of like, whatever. Like obviously you're hopeful because you work so hard that you don't want it to be you, but like I said, there was parts in my mind that felt that way because it was like we kept giving ideas, we kept like they kept pushing our stories, they kept like every time they're like, okay, we're gonna put you in the tag title, we're gonna put you in the tag title, oh, you have this with this person, like you're gonna do, and then they kept just like pushing it back, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know anymore, like I don't know what I don't, like, so it's not that like I said, I've always been prepared. I don't think like I'm so great that that would never happen to me. I've always been prepared. I've always prepared myself and just been ready to like if that day were to come, like what would I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's always been in my mind, but like you can never actually be prepared when that happens to you.
So the release happens. What was your first step afterwards? What was the first thing that you did? Because I feel like that always says a lot about what's going to sort of happen for you in your future. It's like how you handle this release. You either take it as the end of the world or it empowers you.
I legit like called Casey immediately. That was the first thing I did, and I was like, dude, I was like, you know what? Okay, like let's go. We're gonna go do stuff. We're gonna show everybody like why, like, you know what I'm saying, like why, what they were missing. Like we like I literally started plotting the second, and I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna I was like we can go and, you know, build up back our social media, like we're gonna like go travel the world, like we're gonna go like do whatever. Like I literally was like on that rampage. Like I didn't even let her endure the shock of anything. I
You're
was
like,
like at
let's
a
go,
hundred.
baby.
I was trying so hard not to like cry, because it's like you said, it's been a big part of my life. That's all I know is just traveling every week and getting to be out there, you know, and doing what I love in front of people, and just like trying to like be the reason for change. And you know, like I just it was a really hard, but what I didn't want was to get so sad that I just didn't keep moving forward. Like I really wanted to do everything that I could just to keep pushing forward and making sure that I set myself up. I mean, it's also a difficult task when you have 90 days to do absolutely nothing. Like you can't really be out there and be like, yeah, like I'm going to go get it, because you can't. Like there's really not much you can do. You know, I didn't want to jump on a podcast right away and just be like, oh yeah, like this is, I feel this way, because obviously there's a lot of emotions going there. And like I don't want to like, I didn't want to like just be like, you know, however I was feeling in the emotions and just do that, because I think you could probably do podcasts. I think, I can't remember, but you know, as far as like anything else, I just went straight to the gym, to the ring, and I was working every day, or all week, leading up until like our 90 days was up, and just getting in the ring and trying to make myself better. I got into shape, you know, I lost like 15 pounds, you know, like I did everything I possibly could to try to set myself up for, you know, whatever. And Casey, honestly, she had to get her nose taken care of. So she had surgery right off rip. So she's been in recovery this entire time. So yeah, like that's what I did. I literally called her, bombarded her, tried to do everything I could possible. I got into shape. I stayed in the ring. I wanted to, you know, just be like, well, you know, here, let's just give it all we got, you know? Mhm.
I love that you, in a way, like, even though it sucks that, you guys both had to go through this, but at least you had each other. There's a
Right.
lot of people that when they get released, it feels like, shit, like this is a personal attack on me. Like
Yeah.
I'm experiencing this by myself, but in a way, like it was like, you had your friend to go through with this. But also, here's the thing though, you and Casey, like I said, different styles, you guys have different backgrounds, all of that, but you guys came together in the ring as a fully fledged tag team. What was that relationship like with you and Casey from like the first moment you guys started working together to coming up with very fun ideas? Because you guys were fun in the ring. So, coming up with those tag team ideas, traveling the world, going through those highs, going through those lows, what was that relationship like?
Um, People, I mean, I don't know if people didn't know, but like we are real life best friends. Like we didn't start off that way because it was like a funny story. This is not a story for this, but for later. Just know that my current best friend wasn't a fan of Casey's, and not that I had anything to do with me, but Casey was so nice and adamant about like helping me when I first got to the PC, that like we just kind of like bonded. Like she was just always like, what do you need? Like, do you need help with this? Like, da da da. And then we had our first match. My first match in WWE outside of the Mae Young Classic, like for like a live event show, was with Casey. And so like I started to notice, like, you know, oh, like there's like a little something here where we could be different. We could put these things together. Like I want to. I told someone this the other day. I was like, let me show you like our first one of our first like tags together, and watch how like we try to put stuff together, like, but we were figuring it out. Like you can tell we still had a dynamic, but like it wasn't as like, obviously it evolved over time, over the years, but like you can see when we first started trying to put stuff together, which is really like interesting. Like we never go back and look at that, but I did tell somebody that like we need to go back and see what that was like. But yeah, no, we really became like in life, best friends, like real life best friends. Like especially because like when COVID happened, like we were together all the time during COVID. Like we were shooting videos. That's when we were having our TikToks blow up. That's, you know, we were trying to like really like be out there together, and we just spent all this time, because you had no other choice during COVID but to spend time with people. um So that's what we did. And like I said, it's been great having her, because like I said, we have each other's back all the time. Her and I are two people who I believe never have gotten jealous of each other. Like so for me to push her to do stuff and for her to push me to do stuff, there was never a factor of like being jealous or feeling any type of way. And I think that's what made us so unique, is that like we were so supportive in everything that we did. And it was just like, you girl, go out there, shine, do what you got to do. Like we'll do, but we'll come together in this part, like whatever. And there was never any tension, no jealousy, anything when it came into the in-ring stuff, because we knew we were so different that it didn't affect us. So like I never held anything towards her, and she never held anything towards me. And that's what allowed us to really trust each other and be there for each other. And she said that to someone else the other day too. She was like, you got to really trust people, because she looks at me, because when I come up with this crazy thing and I'm like, yo, could you like jump off my shoulders at the top of the rope and then like do this like spinny thing? And she's like, she looks at me, I'm like, no girl, I got faith in you. And she looks at me
Yeah.
and she's like, you're not the one up there. And I'm like, yeah, but you got this. And so you have to have trust in each other. You have to have that. She really trusted me a lot. She really supported a lot of my crazy ideas and was really down to like try to make them, like come to life and stuff like that. So it was like I'd be the person who would be saying something and she'd be like the voice of reason, or she'd be the person like who has like the calm like personality with it. But like I think that's what made it work, is because whatever crazy thing I could spin up, she would be like, okay, like can we do this and then mold it into this. And so it was really like a really legit team effort that we put forth with everything that we did. So even like giving up like things to shine individually, like we have 3 minutes, both her and I are like, okay, well let's do our tag stuff. Like we don't need to be individuals, like we're doing tag things, like there's no reason for that. So like we were very selfless with each other, and I think we focused more on the tag stuff. So I think that made us like have like such a great bond in that aspect.
That's so beautiful because to not you've been in the trenches of pro wrestling, and me through like being a fan and hearing stories and interviewing people, I know that it gets very competitive back there, where
Mhm.
it's like, okay, there's only enough slots, there's only enough time, and there is going to be that kind of jealousy whenever someone is succeeding and the other person is not. So when you find that rare person that you're like, dude, I'm like legitimately happy for you, and that we can actually support each other, that's a very rare thing to find, because even if you do find it for a second, sometimes it doesn't last. But you and Casey have, been friends now for several years, and it has lasted. So I feel like, through all the ups and downs, like there are so many blessings there to be appreciative of, because, through WWE, you were able to build this connection with her. And so many people that are in tag teams always say, like, if you don't get along with your tag team partner, like it's not gonna work out.
Right. You're
Oh
with
my
them so
god.
much. Like, it's just, you can't, like, I mean, I'm blessed that we had a great relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we were with each other so much. And it was just, like, always me and her. Like, it was just doing everything together. But again, I think that was such a special relationship that we had. And that's why I'm sad, because, like, with her, like, we had the same goals. Like, there's a YouTube video somewhere before there was even NXT women's tag titles out. And we were like, we were both just joking around. But we legit sat down and were like, yeah, we want to be, like, the first ever this. And we want to do this with a tag. And we were talking about it, but we weren't included in any of that then. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's crazy that like we had this like whole idea way back when, and we were the OG starting together. Like there wasn't anybody really back then starting like at that era like who were together. So it was, like I said, it's tough, but it's good, because like she knows, and I know like what we've been through and what we wanted to accomplish, and just really like growing with that thought, and like years later like watching it bloom into whatever it did.
And you mentioned the TikToks, by the way. And I always see people like knocking, like, oh, doing TikToks and this and that. But whether you like it or not, like, that's part of doing TikTok, I think, is like getting yourself out there, right? Getting yourself promoted. I think that's a good thing. The fact that you're going out there and you're making videos and being like, hey, like, bringing some promotion in the door, especially because it is a very popular app. So, kind of like making the videos. I love the stuff that I saw with you and Priest, and just like all of that, there was a lot of cool things in there. So I feel like we shouldn't necessarily knock the, going out there and doing TikToks.
Well, first of all, I tell people who make these stupid comments, it's entertainment. What do you think wrestling is? We're like, it says it in its name. Like, what do you think you're watching? The same thing. but for doing TikToks and stuff, it allowed me to show people that I have more of a personality. If I can't show it on TV, it's not because I don't choose to do so. It's because of where you're put in that position. It's not like you handed us a mic and told us to say, or like allowed us to say anything. You when you have a promo and they're just like, yeah, like we got her back. How is that any of our personality? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not what I would choose to say. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not given the opportunity, people just automatically go, oh, no character, no personality, no this. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So for me, it's always been an outlet because I know that I'm fun. I know that I like to have fun. I know that I'm goofy. I know that I'm serious. I know that I'm a lot of things. I'm extra, and having TikTok allowed me to show that because it's just free reign to do whatever. Like I said, thankfully, Priest, like, you don't want to participate in my shenanigans. Casey always is down for whatever. Like anybody who I've ever included in my TikToks I've been blessed enough that they understand the chaotic and crazy that I want, and they want to participate, or they don't want to, but I forcefully sometimes make them do stuff. But it's been fun, honestly. It's a nice outlet. It's a good way for people to see who I am, like what I'm capable of, like just in like with my layers, like that's what I've always wanted to show in WWE is that I have many layers, and if you ever tapped into it, it's just really fun and really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love that. Like, I'm sorry, but I love people who are extra, who just like to go out there and have fun and not care about like making a fool of themselves or looking silly or embarrassing themselves or being like cringe or whatever the words that people are
Right.
constantly using. I feel like if you have the guts to put yourself out there like that, like fuck yeah, like do it. I do want to ask about your friendship with Damian Priest because I was always seeing like pictures of you guys together, and I'm like, they're so cute, like they're always hanging out together, like that's so cool. Tell us about that friendship with Priest.
We've always been friends since he first got there. I remember he looked like this person because I watched a lot of like K dramas and C dramas, and I walked into him like the first day he got there, and I was like, I ran out of the ring, and I was like, you look like this guy named Mr. Gao in this thing. He looked at me. He was like, okay. And I was
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
yeah, and I was like, he looked at me like I was so crazy, and then we ended up started like traveling. It was like me, him, Eric Boogs, and Riddle, and we just had our like little group, and that's who we traveled with. So sometimes it'd be me and him, sometimes it'd be me, him, and Boogs. It would just like rotate, and sometimes it would just be me and Boogs, and like we traveled, and we kind of like formed like a really good friendship there, and that's what I'm saying. We've been friends since he got there. Like I was like probably he'll tell the story one of these days, like that I was like one of the first people that was like really trying to like just befriend him no matter, like I didn't know anything about him, and I was just like I'm just a very friendly person. Like when you give an opening, his wasn't so much an opening, his was me just talking and him just sitting there listening, and I just realized that was him then. But over time, I think that like our friendship helped him to like open up and become a little butterfly in personality and stuff like that. And I feel like he's always been like there to listen like through all the stuff. And every time I've ever needed help, he's always been such a good human to like take the time to talk to me about it and really just like be there. And like I said, we just had a really good like friendship. Like he's actually close with like people in my family because like over time, like during COVID, he was there too. It was like him, me, my family, Casey. You know what I'm saying? That was like our little group. Like people don't realize that he was in TikToks way back when, like from the beginning. Like we had one, it was like me and him and Casey, and then there was like some with like Riddle, and like people don't see that because like obviously our journeys have like come that way. So everyone thinks it's brand new. It's not new. He was there from the beginning. Like what I'm saying. It was just more like apparent now, obviously, because we're in different places in our lives. But like I said, like we have a very good friendship. Like it's he's just always been a good friend, and we've just been there through that time with each other. And obviously our work has taken up us differently, so like unfortunately we can't continue that, but it's fine. I still, that dude's still an awesome dude, and I always still hope him the success, and we'll always have that. If I ever needed to talk to him, he'd still be there. you know he actually like was there and trying to help me when I got released. What I'm saying? So I always appreciate that from him. And but that's it. Yeah, it's been there from the beginning. We've been friends. We've been really good friends.
I love that because you have to have those friendships, right? And that is the hardest part of leaving is like, ah, damn, like we don't get to do these like road trips anymore. But I mean, nowadays, like, everyone sees each other in different places and there's so many different ways to connect. So I think that friendship will definitely always be there, which is awesome. You earlier in the interview, you mentioned working with different teams, right? And you got to be back there in those locker rooms with all of the women. And I mean, I always say this, but like the women have definitely just continued to like excel and grow and just do so well. Who were some of the women back there that you were like, dude, thank you so much for like feedback or just being locker room leaders, people that you could look up to, that, or even just women that you were like, wow, I had an awesome match with you. Like, this is amazing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Um, I I feel like me and Chelsea always have like some history all the way back from like NXT, you know what I'm saying? And then we had like we worked them so much when we got up to the main roster, and it's just been fun always putting stuff like together with her. She has a great mind, and she just like she's so vocal. She just goes after what she wants, and like she's just she's just a fun person, you know. So Chelsea's like someone that, you know, like I feel like, you know, when we were just working around there, that she's just someone who I enjoyed working with. But there's like people in their different ways, you know what I'm saying? You can see like, you know, Rhea, like, you know, just how she just like puts her stuff together, or like, you know, watching like her flourish and do what she does. But, you know, just everyone back there has their own unique kind of like presence, I think. You know what I'm saying? There's just different ways that people can help. You look at Bianca, and she makes her own gear, and she can do like everything. She's like superwoman, and you're like, man, that's like awesome. But then you have people like Charlotte, who's just like so like willing to talk to you about this, and she's like, you know, she's done this and she's accomplished that, and you like look at people like that. It's just like there's so many people who have done so many things individually that like I can't put my like a specific thing on anybody, because like all the women do their own thing so great. And if you were to ask anyone anything, they're usually there to talk to you, to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody who I've ever wrestled, like we've had like good chats with them, like whether it be good or bad, whatever, however we thought about the match. Like everyone's just unique in their own way and brings something different for everybody in any different situation. So I can't really pinpoint one person. Hmm?
I love that you mentioned Chelsea because I just had Priscilla Kelly on the show and she was telling me like the first person she named was Chelsea Green. And I'm like, yo, I love it. Like this is back to back interviews with women's wrestlers where they're, shouting out Chelsea Green for being how she is. And I'm like, I love that so much. Now, before we transition into the next part of what you're working on right now, I do want to ask though, when you look back now, those 7 years in WWE, what were your favorite moments and matches that you look back at and you're like, yes, those were incredible. I will always look back at those fondly.
I mean, the first one obviously is when we won the titles. That one was like such an emotional journey, because like we had worked so hard, and it was like it was in our hometown, or my hometown. There was everyone got to see it. Everyone got to see us grow, and that moment it was like so electric. Like people don't like give that enough credit. Like if you just go back and you hear it, that match in itself was so electric. It was so like I could hear like the stadium just rumbling, because it was just so crazy. Everyone supported it. It was an awesome match. It was the four way, and it was like, and I feel like everybody showed out. Everyone came to show out, and by the end, everyone was still there. It was still loud till up until the end. That was great, and like I said, my family was there. They got to see it, so that meant a whole lot to me. And then when we debuted, obviously that was, you know, something, because like no one knew who we were, but that match too was crazy. Like, you know, I swear I hear people talk about like we didn't get a reaction. I'm like, oh, do we watch the same show? Like, you know, like I was like, it was so electric, and it was against Ronda and Shayna. Like, you wouldn't expect to have any kind of like reaction to such big stars like that, right? But like, it was awesome to hear. Like, it was awesome to do. It was awesome to work with Ronda and Shayna. Like, that match to me was one of my favorites. It was such a great debut. Like, I was so pumped after that. Like, I was like, damn, we're gonna fucking kill it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I felt after that match. You know. And then also, one of my dreams was being in the Rumble, like getting to do, like I've always wanted to do, like obviously WrestleMania was like my main goal, but getting to be a part of like one pay-per-view and being a part of the Rumble is something that I've watched, and actually getting to do it is like, you know, that was just something that's so unreal. And I don't even believe it actually happened until I actually just like watch it sometimes, because it just, you know, it was such a great accomplishment for me, and one of my goals that I set when I was in WWE. So those are probably like my top three moments.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Rumble is something that I've always like, seen everybody go out there because it's such a fun concept, right? So seeing everybody run out there, get their moment, and it just looks like a lot of fun. So I'm glad that you got to experience that amongst other things. I do want to go ahead and sort of segue into some really awesome moments that you've got into experience post WWE, and that is some stuff that you've done both with Ring of Honor and AEW. So let's get to that. September last was last no, 2 months ago. You went and you faced Mina Shirakawa. First of all, dang, that was freaking awesome getting to go out there. But then also Dynamite Title Tuesday, you were the surprise person to answer Mercedes Monet's challenge. Wow. Okay, getting to work with Mercedes and Mina off the bat, those are two of the top tier women in AEW. Talk to us about how the opportunity came about and what your experience was like wrestling both of them.
I have no idea. Like I just was there. I was existing in my life, and then they came up to me and they were like, oh, like I was at one of the tapings, and I was just like just minding my business. I actually think I had got like some fruit desserts earlier that day, and I was just like chilling, doing my thing. And he's like, oh yeah, so you have a title match with me, and I was like, what? I was like. I was like, okay. So then that happened. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I came, and then the next time in Lakeland, and then I think the next that night they were just like, okay, so you have like a no, someone came and introduced themselves to me, and I was like, okay, that's fine, that's not weird. And then someone else came to talk to me, and then they were like, yeah, you got like a little promo. I'm like, promo for what? I'm like just looking at everybody. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? What I'm saying? And they're like, oh yeah, like you're wrestling Mercedes. I was like, what? I was like, okay. I was like, this is fine. They kind of were just like sprung out of nowhere, like for me, and I feel like the opportunity was fitting because they were like they want her to wrestle someone from Florida, and everyone's like naming all these people. I'm like, none of these people are from Florida. Like zero of these people are from Florida. I was like, yeah, like everyone lives here. I was like, but no one's from here. I was like, so you guys can stop. Like I just thought it was funny, like watching all that. But yeah, no, the opportunity, like I said, it came really as a surprise to me. It came like I think also too, like I feel like I got to prove myself a little bit because there was a match. I had a dark match also against Selena Cross, and so that went really well. I think people didn't expect that from me. I think that's what happens with me sometimes is like people don't expect a certain, actually I feel like they don't expect me without tag team wrestling, and people forget that I'm an individual. So it feels like I feel like no one really realized like way back when that I had some indie days before I even got to WWE, and I did the Mae Young Classic, and I was able to showcase myself. And I think it's just been so long that people forget, like, oh damn, she could wrestle too. So I feel like that's what really like helps the situation. Is I had a match, for like a dark match that went really well, and then they gave me Mina, which went really well as well. And then they're like, okay, like let's keep pushing this, like let's keep like exploring this. You know what I'm saying? Um, okay. So I just feel like that was that was it. That was interesting, and that was awesome. To show that, and I think that's what helps me.
Okay, let me clarify a couple of things here just to get my ducks in a row. So you were just hanging out backstage at AEW when this all happened. Like you weren't yet in like a talks with them just yet at that time.
No, no, like, they had brought me in there. I didn't know what was
Okay.
going on. Like I had just like we had talked about me coming there, and I talked about people, so I was there, and I didn't expect anything. I just thought I was just gonna be there to do whatever. And then, like I said, offer up the first day was like my dark match. The second day was the title match, and then I came back again, and they were like, "Oh, here's this," and I was like, "Oh, okay, like it's fine." So yeah, I was just chatting with them about being there. So I just thought I was gonna be backstage or whatever. So
Oh my
I didn't know what
goodness.
to expect. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to get those opportunities. Now, Mercedes, I do want to go back to that because she is somebody that has been, just, top tier, everything that she's doing. She's the belt collector, right? She's getting all of these big moments, and she's had nothing but tremendous matches in AEW. And as somebody who also had a huge history in WWE, what did it mean like to you for you to wrestle Mercedes one on one in this type of setting? And given where she's at right now in her career and what a match with Mercedes does for somebody.
Well, I remember when she had the tag titles in WWE, and she did an interview. Her and Naomi had one, and they had mentioned they wanted to wrestle Casey and I, but then after that, they had left the company or whatever. So I was like really bummed because I really wanted to get to work with them both. They're both like amazing wrestlers, and I said I said this. I said I've been following like her especially when I used to watch NXT. Like I wasn't even wrestling yet when I saw her first at NXT. So for me to have followed that journey and to see where she is now is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I've always been playing catch up because I've wanted to do such great things so much. So getting to watch like what she did and then starting to follow the path behind. You know what I'm saying? I've always wanted to be successful and accomplish stuff. So it was really cool when they were like, oh, this is your opponent. I'm like, damn, that's like really awesome. And it's one on one. So it's so different. You know what I'm saying? It was exciting. It's just like, for me, I think that was like the pinnacle of me being able to really show the world, like, I am an individual, I am good by myself, like I did work really hard and I can stick with the best of the best. Like that's the things that I feel like I have to go out and like re-showing the world, is because again, people see you one way and they only think that I know tag wrestling, and they forget myself, like, you know what I'm saying, or they forget like who I am, and I just had to keep reminding somebody or everyone. So it's just like it was really cool, to have that opportunity with her, because she is so successful, she is so great, she does put on great matches, and just to be able to be in the ring and to like, really show that I can hang meant a lot, because it's like I want people to know that, like, she's here and I'm right, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm right here giving her a run for her money. I'm really, trying to be there and like show people like, what I have to offer. So it did mean so much to me. And like I said, it just felt like that was the perfect thing that I needed to like show myself back to the world. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I haven't really been doing a lot. Like I've done a lot, but not a whole lot since I was released. But that felt like the pinnacle of like everything to really to accomplish.
It felt like that really boosted you to like, hey, like, what's up? Like, I'm here. Do not forget
Yes,
about me.
exactly.
And the thing that you mentioned, though, that is very key here is that you do have to kind of go back out there and sort of like reintroduce yourself to everybody, because they're no longer seeing you as a tag team performer. It's you by yourself, Lacey Lane. What can you deliver? And I think that part within itself must be exciting for you, because you get to go out there and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. And now I can, I imagine it's safe to assume that you are working towards becoming all elite, maybe getting that all elite graphic. I'm sure that's something that you're trying to manifest for to happen.
I mean, I said that when I did Busted Open with Bubba. I really, want some another platform to show, and I said I feel like that's where I would fit. I feel like, clearly I've had great matches with these girls already. So like I feel like I what I was saying was true. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I said it then. I went out and I did it. So like I would love to pursue that. Like that's something that I would, what I'm saying, I would love for me to happen, but we don't know. No one knows anything, and we can only hope. And I did my best. I put my best foot forward. I showed them what I had, and that's like up to the world, to the fate of of life, if something happens from it. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm blessed to have the opportunity. I'm glad I got to showcase myself, and like, what I'm saying, like we're waiting from here. We'll have to see what happens.
So you got Mercedes, you got Mina. The AEW women's locker room is pretty jam packed. If you got any more opportunities to wrestle with any of the other girls, who are some that you're like, oh my god, that would be incredible?
I mean, I'm out here just doing title matches. Like, I literally had a title match after that with Shayna for a title. Like, I'm like, okay, all my matches have just been like, let's just go ahead. Like, where's Athena at? Like, let's get her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get Chris. Like, what's up? Like, like that's just, I think that's where I'm going. Is just, we're just doing title matches all the time. Like,
I
no,
love
I
that though, because then you're working with the, again, the greats that are out there.
yeah, no, I want it. I want the challenges. I want to just keep showing everybody that, like, I'm capable. Like that's all I want. I just really love wrestling. I just want to wrestle. I just want to work. I just what I'm saying, like that's just me. Like I've always loved wrestling, and I love doing it, and so I just I want to keep on doing it, and whatever opportunity it brings me, I'm there for it.
Yes, I can feel it. Like, I can feel your enthusiasm throughout this entire interview. And I really feel like I'm getting to know you so much more. So I feel like the people watching this are going to be like, damn, like, I really like your energy. And I think a lot of people will feel that same way. So I do kind of want to rewind a little bit to the early parts of your career, trying to get to know you from that end, because it's like, okay, you were an athlete, and then you morphed into pro wrestling. Where did your fandom for wrestling begin?
So my dad, this is like way back when my dad took us to like, like a WWE event, and that was really cool. And my dad was the one who really like watched wrestling and just kind of brought us along. So like I watched it like here and there, but it wasn't until one of my friends was like, oh, like, hey, like my dad works at Full Sail, like I have these like tickets, and I was like, okay, like I'll go, like I'm not doing anything, like so let's go. So I remember going to Full Sail watching NXT, and I remember seeing Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn, and I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I want to do this. I was like, it was like it was so cool because I was trying to figure out. I was just like nearing my time, with basketball. Like I was graduating college. I was like trying to figure out what else I wanted to do. And then I went to the show, and I was so inspired by their match because they killed it. And I was like, I want to do this. And from then on, I was like looking for like wrestling schools, and then I started following NXT's journey, and I was like I was going to every show at this point. I was like like following them all the live events and just like really trying to study and being like, can I fit here, like what can I do. So then I remember like Tough Enough came about, and I didn't know how that worked. Like, what I'm saying? I didn't know they already knew who they wanted. Well, I don't know how that was. And I remember just like doing a video, and then I was working at Under Armour, and Devon's son Terrence was working there at the same time as me. And like we both just got hired together. And then someone was like, oh yeah, like a famous wrestler, like his son like working. I was like, what famous wrestler? And they're like, one of the Dudleys. I was like, the Dudleys. I was like, what? Like, like how what a coincidence. But him and I became friends. He showed his dad his video, and his dad was like, "Oh, bring her to the school." So then once I got to meet with Devon, I got there, and then that's where like Serpentico became my mentor. And so that's been something. It was Serpentico and the Dudleys that really like kind of molded me to who I was, and that's like how I pretty much fell in love. And 10 months later, I wasn't even finishing with my school. I had gotten my tryout for WWE, so it was a real like it was very fast. I said I wanted to do something, no one believed me. And I was like, I'm gonna prove all of you wrong. So I mean, that was an accomplishment in itself. So it was literally making a video to getting to a school to getting a tryout to being signed. Because I did get signed early too. I got signed my first tryout, but I didn't pass medical. So that's why when I had my contract, I didn't start when I was supposed to. Like I was supposed to start, I think it was when did I start? 2019? I think I was supposed to start the year before, or and then that's when I went off and had my venture in Mexico. And then I ended up back there. So it was a pretty wild journey, but it was all because of that show that someone invited me to that it all spiraled into something.
It was just meant to be. I feel like every time I hear these like stories and these connections, it's like, damn, like that's what you were meant to do. And it's nice that it found you, right? So you mentioned seeing Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn and that being like a wow moment, obviously training with the Dudleys, all of that. But who were the wrestlers that you were like, oh, these are my favorites right here? Like these are the ones I love, I can't turn away from.
Like back then, obviously it was I loved Luna. Like I like Luna was such a like a unique character back and then, and Jazz and Jacqueline, and the girls just really like I really loved Gail Kim back in the day. I would like I loved the Hardys. I loved, gosh, there's so many. I remember Diamond Dallas Page was one of my favorites, like Stone Cold. Even way back when, like I told you, the Jumping Bomb Angels were like just like and then also obviously the new era when Breeze came out, and then this is when Baron Corbin was like debuting. I was like, he's so freaking cool because he had like the little lights that went up, and it was just such a cool thing. And Finn Balor came as the demon, and I was just like obsessed. I was so like, this is so cool. Like it was just so fun to watch. Like, but yeah, that was just my like list of like a lot of people. Because I remember watching like Revival and Alpha Academy, and like all of them being just so good. Everyone was just so good. Like it was
So
awesome.
many people, so many characters, so many different stories. There's a lot in there. So, okay, you 10 months of wrestling training and bam, like you get your tryout, you're signed by WWE. WWE is a big machine. Like the way that they move, like it just keeps running nonstop. Were you prepared for the world you were about to enter? Or how shot like at what moment did you realize like, oh shit, I'm in it. Like this is it.
Well, we had to do. What did I do? Did I go there? I think we were going there for like Like we actually had to be there and backstage, and then we had to like do. Wait, was it the same? I'm trying to think of where that was. No, I don't know if I reported. I just can't. I remember getting. I maybe it was the phone call. I can't remember exactly. It's so far away. I remember I was ready to move to the Philippines because I wanted to play basketball. Like I was like really trying to like plan out all of that, and then I had a tryout, and I was like, okay, well I'll still pursue basketball. Like there's nothing really like I felt good at my tryout. Don't get me wrong. I felt something then, but I didn't want to believe it was real until something. But then a few weeks later, like, and then he was like, hey, so just want to let you know we wanna offer you, and I was like, what? And I was like, you want to what? And so I think even just like the call then like that made it feel like really real, and then like having to go through the process because obviously they send you the contract and then you see this WWE logo you shows up in your mail and you're like this can't be fake, like you know what I'm saying, like there's just like that was just the whole thing for me. But obviously that dream turned to sour very quickly, but it was fine. It was meant to happen the way it happened because had I started when I did, I'm not sure Casey and I would have had the same bond because then I would have started before Casey and Casey would have came along after instead of like the roles reversed. So I don't ever take any heart to it. I know whatever happened happened, and like we would have never been in this position. I don't think if that's how my journey was supposed to happen. Hmm?
Right. I know I'm a firm believer in like whatever's meant to happen happens and whatever's meant for you is meant for you. So I
Right.
just feel like keep those good vibrations going and cool things will continue to happen because they are happening. Like we're talking about the cool things that have happened even post the WWE release. So first of all, I want to thank you so much Lacey for doing this interview, for taking the time to chat with me. It was so cool to get to know more of you. There's a question that I always ask my guests at the end of it all, and that is like, your goals, your short and long term goals. Of course, we're rounding out the year. Pretty soon, we're going to be making New Year's resolutions and things like that. So, looking at where you're at right now, what are those things you want to, accomplish?
Well, one of them I did actually. I've always wanted to wrestle in the Philippines, and I got to do that. I got to wrestle in the Philippines and Singapore, and I got to have my homecoming there. It was the most amazing experience I could have ever asked for. And then I got to go to Singapore, and I want to like go tour like the Southeast Asians. People sleep on it. Like it's the talent and the people, the crowds. They're so amazing over there, and like they're up and coming, and people forget about Thailand and Malaysia and Korea and all the other places that you can possibly go, and it was such an experience. I'm actually trying to go back in January, so that'll be like one of my top goals is to get there in January and do whatever. But I also want to wrestle everyone and and all over. Like I want to like just my long-term goal is to show. I wanted to give myself a year to really prove that I could really make something of myself and just show everyone like like what I have to offer. So like that's what I'm looking forward to, is just to working everywhere and everyone and just really getting to put on some banger matches and have that like just a great feeling of wrestling again. So I just want to work. I just really want to wrestle, and I just really want to do some more. I hope, like I said, if we're talking about like future goals, I hope my future is in AEW or somewhere that I can show like what I can do, or like give a platform where I can really like give myself a higher standard of wrestling. So that's like one future like future goal, like wrestling in the Southeast Asia is like expanding myself and like really like going global. Yeah, that's just what I want to do right now.
It sounds so fun. Like you mentioned all these different parts of the world, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go with her. Can I just tag
Yeah,
along in the suitcase?
yeah, no, it's crazy.
That's amazing. All right, Lacey. Before we wrap things up, please tell the people where they can follow you, support your career, and just all of that.
Yeah, so on all of my platforms it's Lacey with two Y's and then Lane for Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. So if you want to follow me, just check me out on there. They're all the same names.
Perfect. I'm going to post all of the links to that in the description box below, as always. Thank you so much to Lacey. Thank you to everybody watching. Please don't forget to leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the interview and subscribe to the channel for more daily pro wrestling content. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.